Last part, the unexpected twist after I referred a friend. The real breaking point came during a major client presentation. Zoe had volunteered to lead it, promising deliverables that weren't fully finished. That week, I was out sick, flu, splitting headache, the works, and the presentation had originally been scheduled for the following week, when I would have been ready. But Zoe went ahead and contacted the client without my approval. She texted me, claiming the client had suddenly changed their mind and wanted to meet that very day. I knew it wasn't true. Most of the presentation, about 80%, was my work. I had planned, executed, and prepared nearly everything. Her contribution was maybe 20%, mostly relying on my guidance. As her trainer, it had been my responsibility to ensure she was ready. I asked her to loop me in or send a Zoom link so I could answer any technical questions remotely. She didn't respond. I tried calling her, but she cancelled the call. Little did she know, this client was meticulous and always asked detailed, precise questions, exactly the kind of questions she wasn't prepared to answer. According to a coworker, after just one question, Zoe froze, and the client specifically requested to speak to me. They already knew my work and trusted my explanations. I stepped in and spoke honestly, letting them know the project wasn't fully complete, but about 90% finished. I apologized, and fortunately the client was understanding. I even suggested grabbing coffee that Saturday, once I had fully recovered, so we could review the presentation together and ensure everything was perfect. I framed it as a small miscommunication, a way to turn an unexpected, rushed meeting into a casual follow-up without embarrassing anyone. Once I had recovered, I spoke to the client on my own to finalize details. I didn't involve Zoe because I wanted to prevent any further disruption or mistakes. But Zoe found out almost immediately. She told everyone in the office that I had only acted to gain recognition, when in reality, I was just cleaning up the mess she had created. The office felt tense for days. People were whispering, and I could sense Zoe's frustration every time our paths crossed. She didn't confront me directly, but her comments and sideways glances made it clear she was still trying to position herself as the hero of the situation. I kept my head down, focusing on my work, refusing to engage in drama. Meanwhile, my manager and the owner were aware of everything. They had seen Zoe volunteer for tasks she wasn't prepared for, ignore instructions, and create unnecessary risks. And they had seen me step in calmly to ensure the client's trust wasn't broken. Slowly, it became obvious to everyone who had been handling the real responsibility. Over the next week, I made sure to document all the tasks I had completed, updates I had provided, and guidance I had given Zoe. I wasn't doing it to prove a point. I was doing it to protect the integrity of the project and myself. Zoe continued to try subtle ways to take credit, but it was clear she had lost some credibility. The owner even pulled me aside one afternoon and said, "I know you handled this professionally. We see the work you're doing, and we appreciate it." That small acknowledgement felt like a quiet victory, but more importantly, it reinforced a lesson I had been learning over time. Competence, consistency, and integrity always get noticed. A few weeks later, leadership decided to restructure the team. I was promoted to manage the account officially. Zoe wasn't fired, but she was quietly moved to another team where her tasks were more contained. A couple of months later, she left the company entirely. A few weeks after the restructure, I started hearing whispers about Zoe's new role. She had been moved to another team where her tasks were smaller and more contained. But it seemed the same patterns followed her. She was confident, even outspoken, but she struggled to keep up with deadlines and details. Her new manager had less patience for shortcuts. When a project required careful planning and technical knowledge, Zoe hesitated, made mistakes, or passed the difficult parts on to others. The same issues that had surfaced in our team, overconfidence, lack of preparation, and reliance on others to clean up, started affecting her reputation there as well. Word eventually reached me through colleagues that her team had begun to lose trust in her work. Meetings were tense. Tasks had to be reassigned. Even her own manager pulled her aside to address her repeated mistakes. It wasn't humiliating publicly, but quietly. She realized that confidence without preparation could only take her so far. After a few months, Zoe's struggles became more noticeable. Her confidence remained, but without the guidance and support she had relied on before. Deadlines were missed, mistakes piled up, and her credibility in the new team began to fade. She eventually decided to leave the company entirely, seeking a fresh start elsewhere. For me, it was a quiet moment of reflection. I had learned that helping someone grow is important, but it doesn't mean covering for them endlessly or letting their shortcuts threaten the work or reputation of the team. True leadership is about patience, guidance, and accountability, and sometimes the lessons others need are the ones they experience themselves. Looking back, the experience with Zoe taught me more than any project ever could. Competence, consistency, and integrity speak louder than self-promotion. And while it was difficult to watch her struggle, it reminded me that ambition without preparation rarely lasts. From that point on, I approached mentorship differently. I set clear boundaries, ensured expectations were understood, and made sure support never came at the expense of responsibility. Lessons that shaped not only my career, but the way I guided others moving forward. Takeaway: true growth comes from balancing ambition with accountability, and real respect is earned through consistent action, not shortcuts. Looking back, the experience with Zoe taught me more than any project ever could. Competence, consistency, and integrity speak louder than self-promotion. And while it was difficult to watch her struggle, it reminded me that ambition without preparation rarely lasts. Months after Zoe left, the team had settled into a new rhythm. The account I managed continued to grow, and the trust I had built with both the client and our leadership strengthened even more. Looking back, the whole experience felt like a lesson wrapped in chaos. Zoe's ambition and confidence had taught me a lot about boundaries, mentorship, and the delicate balance between helping someone and protecting the work and people around you. I realized that true leadership isn't about taking credit. It's about guidance, consistency, and integrity. And sometimes the people we try to help most need to learn their own lessons. I still remember the first time I referred Zoe, her relief, and her gratitude. That memory reminds me that helping someone is always meaningful, as long as it's paired with clear expectations and respect. In the end, everyone finds their own path, and it's the quiet, steady work, the reliability and care we bring to our own role that truly leaves a mark. Helping others is valuable, but the most important legacy you leave is the integrity and consistency you bring to your own work. Thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you love these videos. The end.